Is Karate Kid Legends the best around? Is anything going to keep it down? Let's find out.
You've seen it before, haven't you?
Once more unto the bridge, dear friends.
Again and again until we're both dead.
There's only like 12 stories. They change around little details, but they're all pretty much the same.
Deja vu. Something very familiar about it.
Hello, welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews with connections in mind. Karate Kid Legends is the sixth entry in the Karate Kid franchise. This time is directed by Jonathan Entwistle and features returning franchise staples, including Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, alongside the titular Karate Kid, this time played by Ben Wang as Li Fong, a young martial arts prodigy who is uprooted from his home in Beijing to move to New York City. And once again, just as always in this franchise, only a martial arts tournament and victory in it will bring about the end of his bullying problem. Now, this review will contain spoilers of Karate Kid Legends, as well as certain other things. I'll be doing my spoiler-free thoughts first, though, but just so you know, we'll be some spoilers later on in this review. So, first things first, let's get into some spoiler-free talk on Karate Kid Legends. Is this a worthy entry in the Karate Kid franchise? How does this rank up with any of the other Karate Kid movies? Is this a good time in the theater? I would say, well, first off, just some disclaimers. I've seen the original Karate Kid a whole bunch of times. I really haven't seen either, Karate Kid 2 or 3 or the next Karate Kid. And I knew that Jackie Chan was going to be in this, so I personally went out and saw the Karate Kid remake from 2010, which had Jackie Chan training Jaden Smith as the Karate Kid, although it was really Kung Fu and not karate, but whatever. And I have not seen any of Cobra Kai on Netflix. I have not seen any of that, so I had none of that going into this. And as far as I could tell, you don't need to know anything about Cobra Kai. There's one reference at the very end, which I'm assuming is from Cobra Kai, but and it's mainly a cameo in the form of a cameo of a character who is a main focus on Cobra Kai. But other than that, all you need to know about this is it's basically the Karate Kid again. It's young kid gets uprooted from his town to a whole other place. Gets bullied, and only martial arts. Winning the martial arts tournament will bring him respect, but he's not quite good enough, so he has to get the teaching from the mentor. This time, it's mainly Jackie Chan's Mr. Han in this, but we also get Ralph Macchio's Danny LaRusso to show up as well. And what I think this movie does, when this movie works the best, is when it breaks formula. That is, this movie does have a refreshing change of pace in that they introduce the element of an extra element beyond the regular level. The love interest in this time around is Mia, played by Sadie Stanley. She's the teenage daughter of this pizza shop owner around the corner from his new apartment, and the pizza shop owner named Victor. He was a former boxer, and he wants to get back into it, and he owes some loan sharks money, and so he has this tournament style. It's like, all right, I get to get back into boxing, and I've seen this kid fight. He knows kung fu, and he's really good at fighting off. So can this kid have the kid teach the old guy some kung fu in order to improve his fighting? He's like, all right, that is a new twist on this old idea, and I'm here for it. I love the dynamic they have between Lee, Mia, and Victor, this whole little family going together, and I like that development. Unfortunately, that's not a whole lot of the movie. That's probably the middle third. I would say pretty much the entire second act is that. And the first act and the third act are standard Karate Kid stuff. And that's the stuff that is kind of boring, to be honest. And and boring in that it's standard, all right? You got um you're the kid, the teenage bully but he's only really a bully because his teacher is really a jerk, and he's teaching him to be a extreme bad fighter or whatever. And our main Karate kid is he learned from the mentor, is like, no, fighting's supposed to be pure, it's supposed to be for defense only. And you got those tropes going for you. And yes, it's standard, but in this franchise we've seen it work a lot better. And I feel like I just said that I hadn't seen any of the only Karate Kid media that I've really seen is the first Karate Kid and the remake. And I know the remake was terrible because it played the same tropes pretty much note for note without really changing anything, or not changing anything well, rather. And this one, they're not really changing anything either. I mean, they added those new elements. Like I said, though, it's the best part of this movie, and that's where a lot of fun is. But the pacing of this is another aspect of the pacing between the various elements, and there's a lot of elements. I know I said that the good stuff with Lee training Victor to be a better boxer using kung fu. That's pretty much the second act or whatever. But intermixed with all of that, you got the troubles with Lee integrating with in New York with American Family, good friends, avoiding the bully. The mom is disapproving, and she's got her thing. The mom, played by Ming Na Wen this time around, which great to see her, but I wish they had more for her to do. And you also got the twist on, well, now it's the kid who has the tragic you have the tragic backstory of a character. In the first Karate Kid, it was Pat Morita's backstory that was tragic, and now it's the kid's turn in this time. And you got that going on, you got the tournament going on, and so you got all this stuff. And this is a relatively straightforward, I think it's a 90-minute, just over 90-minute movie, and they cram a lot into that 90 minutes. And I should also say that it goes through a bit of a style change about halfway through when they start introducing like the Miss Marvel kind of the graphics overlaid on the screen. And you got the color graphics. Oh, the tournament 5 days away, and the color graphics are. It's like, cool. Why is this just now showing up? So it's got all that stuffed into one, and that's one big problem. And the other major problem, I think, aside from being standard, is the characters. Like I said, Ming Na Wen as the mother doesn't get a whole lot to do. We got so we got two masters, two senseis in this movie. One is Jackie Chan's Mr. Han, who you don't need to see anything of the remake of Karate Kid to know about this. I mean, there's one reference in the training at the beginning of the show, but that's about it. Jaden doesn't make an appearance, obviously. I'm not sure, they could have done that, but it's probably best that they didn't. So he's there, and Ralph Macchio as Daniel Russo does show up, but, and this might be mean to say, but Ralph Macchio, I mean, he doesn't have that much to do, I think. They kind of retcon the reason why, to bring these two together. They use a scene in the very beginning from, I guess, Karate Kid 2, where I guess Danny and Mr. Miyagi go to Okinawa, and you talked about the Miyagi family tree or whatever, and how, oh, well, this ancestor, he accidentally went to China and learned learned about Kung Fu and brought it back to Okinawa to mix with Miyagi Karate. And so, two branches, one tree. That was the justification of bringing these two together. Unfortunately, they mentioned, the kids got the strong foundation of Kung Fu with, now we're going to bring karate in. And the karate doesn't really play that big a difference, big a change in what's going on in this, and by the end, I think. Plus, both Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan are not young men anymore. And, one fight scene in particular is in, so Jackie Chan is the uncle of Li Fong, the main character, and he randomly shows up in New York one morning. The lights are off in the apartment, and he just up and attacks this kid, the kid out of nowhere, just to see his fighting. And they purposely shot it in the dark, I feel, and then they even have the lights flicker on and off briefly, and it's like, oh yeah. He shows up when he just realizes, like, oh yeah, this is Jackie Chan in a fight. It's like, no. And even in the scenes where it's broad daylight out, you could tell that they're cutting around the action and only showing what moves that they know that Jackie Chan in his 70s, I believe, can reasonably pull off at his age. And no shame in that, but it is a bit disappointing, especially the fact that you're selling the movie on, you got, Jackie Chan, the Kung Fu legend of Hollywood, and you got the original Karate Kid, teaming up to teach this new kid, and really they don't teach that much. It's really the last 20, 25 minutes where they actually have their little training montage, try to combine their two. And Ralph Macchio, he's given off a lot of... He reminds me of Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man No Way Home, where it's great to see him again on the big screen, but you can tell he's moving a little slower. He's kind of creaky. They're kind of having to shoot around him in certain ways, and it shows. It really shows in this, and it really does drag this movie down. However, all that being said, this movie did give me some laughs, and when it really did focus on the main character and some of the new stuff that they added in, it was an enjoyable time. And by the time we get to the final tournament, where obviously it becomes a one-on-one match with the bully, I was reasonably invested in a way that, I definitely wasn't in the 2010 remake of Karate Kid, but as much as I was in the original. And with that said, I would say this movie does just enough to say that it's so-so overall. It's definitely not the best, but it's just good enough to say, yeah, that was a good time in the theater. So I would say if I was going to give Karate Kid Legends a letter grade, I would say this is definitely a C. This is definitely not a C plus. I would say if it's just the side of good of a C, of the middle of the road movie for me. And if we're going to weigh this in on the scale of unoriginality, fitting for a franchise that pretty much only has one note, I would say Karate Kid Legends weighs in at reworked scripts. It got the same puzzle pieces, somewhat in a different order. What more can you say at this point? It's got the one note, and if it does the one note well, I think it does nail it, but it did this only about halfway right. So those are my main spoiler-free thoughts on Karate Kid Legends. Now let's get some spoiler talk, certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. This is going to be a short segment just because you can point to a myriad of sports movies where the men where it follows this formula of the underdog who he wants to believe in himself, but no one believes in him, and he does the training and then ultimately wins on that. But for me, the one kind of interesting similarity in this movie is the fact that they specifically note that the prize is $50,000 for whoever wins this this Five Boroughs tournament, and the fact that one of the main reasons why Lee is trying to win this tournament is because he's going to use the money to help save Victor's Pizza Place, because from the Loan Sharks or whatever. It really makes me think of Dodgeball, a true underdog story, where once again it's a $50,000 prize to save a failing business, and you've got the evil team, and they're not playing fair, and you've got that antagonism going on between the two characters. That movie was very tongue in cheek, but this movie I think also knows it's a little tongue in cheek sometimes, and like I said, that was just a very interesting similarity on that front. So that was my main point of comparison with this movie to others. What did you think of Karate Kid Legends? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What about my analysis? Do you agree, disagree? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Be sure to look for my next movie review, which will be for From the World of John Wick Ballerina, which comes out June 6th, I believe. So be sure to look for that. And if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.